Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's December 14th, 2024. Right now I'm in Elon, the Takushi TV290 excavator, and just breaking some of the ice up, the frozen ground off of the teeth of the bucket here. And I think it's been over a week. Let me go ahead and lift up, break things loose here. With the tracks and all. Everything's slow this morning. It's about 22 degrees Fahrenheit here in central New York. And I'm going to head down to the leaf mold pile and see if we can accomplish a turning of the leaf mold pile this morning. Hopefully everything's working here with cameras and all. We're just starting to warm this up. I did have the Elon on charge here. I'm going to turn the RPMs up some. It's starting to warm up the motor a little bit. And so we've really lucked out with snow. Just north of us. I know at one point they got 5 foot in a couple of days time, and I don't know how much they've gotten since then, probably 2 or 3 more feet since then as well. There was a thaw, and I think they probably experienced the thaw as well. Yes, so we've had a few days of high winds. So we had like a real lot, we had some lake effect that hung over us for a very short period of time that dropped, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 inches. But it came at the time when there was probably at least 50-mile-per-hour winds, and so it all got deposited off into the forest, which really worked out. I didn't have to do any snow blowing. Then the next day, we had more, probably 60-mile-per-hour winds, and we ended up taking delivery of the soil conditioner. So I used the Avant 860i, aka the green machine, to go ahead and unload the new soil conditioner and get that set as well. But we really had high winds during the time when I was actually unloading it. That was actually just fine. Things worked out great at that time. The winds had calmed down, but right after that, man, they kicked up again. So, all right, so let's see what we can do with this compost, with this leaf mold pile here. I came down a little while ago, and I'm just stirring up this far edge because this is really where we're going to be stacking it. Hydraulics, everything's moving slow to start out with here this morning. Just getting started here. Want to mix things up a bit. And I have had lots of comments. I recently posted a video on leaf mold. And then more recently, I posted a video on using the different types of composting that can be done and making inoculants. And we'll be going over that more in the springtime. There's a couple of different methods I'll be using this coming spring to see how things actually do work out. So this, you know, even though it's been so cold and we've had snow and the high winds and all, I gotta say that I'm real happy with the progress that this leaf mold pile has been making here. And I do get comments about, geez, there are people who are kind of amazed how long how quickly our leaf mold actually transforms and gets decomposed into some really nice, soil amendment. Now, one of the key things that I would say about it is that we're turning this pile pretty regularly when the weather permits. Now, given that I get these leaves in the fall, and we're in central New York, Oswego, New York. So I'm trying to see around this pile here. Depending on which camera perspective you're seeing here, it's hard to appreciate the angle that I'm looking at things. So I'm about there so far. So I'm going to reach over to the other side of the pile where I dumped a lot of the compostable material and the wood ash. And I did post an article on the wood ash on our website, mindfullivingsanctuary.com, about the benefits of wood ash and some of the challenges of the wood ash as well. Grab a little off the top. And so when I'm turning these piles, not so much when I'm very first turning these here, but when I'm doing composting, what I consider composting is the thermophilic composting, and that article on our website goes over the different types of compost from various materials that people do use for composting, carbons and nitrogen sources, the greens and browns. And I'm always forgetting what I'm talking about here as I'm doing what I'm doing. But one of the things I would say that I find that improves when I'm doing composting or I'm turning even a leaf mold pile is trying to gather all of those materials that are on the perimeter or on the top and get those put into the center of it. And also when I'm adding material, compostable materials to our leaf mold pile, I want to take some of the leaf mold, put a few buckets of the leaf mold down, then grab a bucket that has some of the compost in it, the most recent material, or if it's weeds or things that I'm gathering from the gardens. And I got to remember to tell you about what I just discovered in the eastern garden plot just a few minutes ago. So I really want to get those materials that aren't getting exposed to the higher heats and therefore not getting as much biological activity. So the decomposers aren't doing quite as good to the surface, to the outer surface of the pile. So we want to incorporate that outer surface when we're doing our turning of the pile. So I just think that's really important when we're doing composting. And you can look at some of our old videos from years ago, and it's in our composting video playlist. And I show, at that time I was using our tractor Optimus Prime, which is Optimus Prime was a Case 995 with a front end loader, born in the 70s, and I had that for 40 years. And that tractor, man, it really performed very well. But as I'm getting older, I wanted to have something with heating and air conditioning and a cab. And I wanted to get, and that had a fixed bucket, a pinned bucket on it. So that's before all of the quick hitch attachments were available. So even when I'm using this beautiful piece of equipment, or I'm using one of the other pieces of equipment and all, I'm not doing a great job. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. And for years, and I've recently made some personal videos I post on our site about our history, and it wasn't always this easy with having all this beautiful, wonderful equipment. It certainly wasn't for many years. But I was younger and healthier and really determined to make some headway with each one of these projects. So a lot of physical labor went into in the first years. Now, as I'm turning this, now we see the humidity coming off. It's like our breath on a cold day like this. You can see that, so it's telling you that our temperatures are probably in the low 90s, is what my guess is. Upper 80s or low 90s in the pile, which isn't enough to kill pathogens or devitalize weed seeds. So that's okay. We'll get some really nice potting mix from this. You know, could it be heat treated if people wanted to use this material after it's finished and use it for potting mix and all that and not have to deal with weeds? Yes, that could be done. But I don't like the idea of that because we're getting so many beneficial microorganisms in here. And remember, this has been inoculated by the organisms on our forest floor. And I just keep redoing the same process over and over again so that I can keep those same, and I'm going to call them native or native population of microorganisms, and keep them replicating and feeding the pile as much as possible. And I think I post several articles recently. I think I just got done posting an article about the different ways of inoculating your compost pile or your garden beds or your food forest. So that article is on our website, and I think I just recently posted a video. It'll go up before this one on these inoculation mechanisms, and I had to dig through some of our old videos to find our vermicomposting video, which was one of our composting videos in that long playlist of composting systems that we've done over the years. And I've got my Carhartt and a sweatshirt on underneath this, so I'm getting pretty hot right now as this thing's heating up. Let me make an adjustment. So I just want to keep mixing this material. Let's turn this down some. Open up the jacket. Now, in short order, I'll be right out there in the cold again. But that's life. And I actually talked about in a recent video as well about the 10 forms of capital, the things that I believe in investing in. So there's a couple of articles on that subject as well. And then I just also posted, I'm not necessarily going to make any videos about this, I mentioned our financial investments that has allowed us to do as much stuff as we are doing here. And that having to do with Tesla and what I consider intelligent investing approach that we use, and why I consider Tesla to be a really good sound investment for us. And in the video that I just made recently, I really caution people from just blindly, you know, taking anything that I say or anyone else on YouTube too much to heart, because you know, no one knows your risk tolerance, and you don't want to assume that you've got a risk tolerance like mine. My level of risk tolerance far exceeds that of the general population. But then again, I'm one of those people who trusts my own research as well. But when it comes to investing, everybody should do your own research. When it comes to watching media, it used to be NBC, CBS, and ABC were the three main news sources many years ago, and people would probably choose, oh, I like ABC or I like NBC because of the hosts or whatever. And back at that time, I completely trusted that I was getting facts when when the news media and at that time were disseminating information about current events, financial situations, things that were going on in the White House and all, and I believe that. And retrospectively, for the most part, a lot of that was pretty much accurate. The news, the journalists back then, for the most part, in general, I shouldn't make any big general statements. I believe tried their best to get the information to you as with minimal bias as possible. I won't say no bias, but that's what I believed back then, and I think that they did do their best to do that. Nowadays, I think it's blatantly obvious that that no matter what your media source is, no matter whether it's social media, whether it's ABC, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, News Nation, My Channel, any place that you're getting information, I think this day and age, one of the things we have to do is become good critical thinkers. That really takes practice to become a good critical thinker, and to take on the responsibility yourself to vet the information that you're getting. In other words, if you believe strongly that somebody's a real jerk and based on what somebody else is saying, I think it might be wise to go ahead and see if you can find the opposing view and really listen to that, and then do the research, not just accept what anyone's saying, but take your time, do the research, find out if it's predominantly right-leaning or left-leaning or more of a centrist approach, but never give up doing your research with those. If you're going to be investing in something, do your research, because we all have our own opinions, and we can think that correlation is causation, and believe something that happened to happen as that we believe that it was a result of something. And this sounds very vague, but it doesn't mean that what we believe happened actually did happen. I got to say, having a mini excavator like this that actually has a front blade on it, which most of them do nowadays, and having a thumb, if you're going to have an excavator, having a thumb on the excavator, well, that's pretty darn handy as well, by golly. My first excavator didn't have a thumb, Bumblebee. We may do without it, but the advantage of having a thumb, it's real handy. And as you can see, I'm using the thumb as I'm turning this pile to just grasp more of the material as I'm going through this process and all. I got a little bit of my sand below this mixed in that time. And we are going to have a bit of a thaw later on today, so the temperature will probably get up over freezing today. They're predicting 34 or 36 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll see what it actually gets to. It'll probably get to just about freezing is what I think it will do. And then the next couple of days, we might get up to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, where everything will thaw out. And then it'll freeze again. But we'll take what we can get, and we'll make the very best of it as we can. I don't enjoy when it's in the 20s, being outside working in the workshop, because it is not fully insulated yet, and therefore it's not heated. Now, if I were using the track loader or the green machine with this, we'd make the base here really nice and neat. We're not going to do that today because I don't have a bucket that doesn't have teeth on it. those, I don't know if you can notice this, but I got small clumps of leaves here that I'm just trying to blend in with the rest of the material. That dark stuff is already teeming with microorganisms. They may not be as active right now because of the temperatures and all. And the outer surface, they'll really slow down. Some of them will creep down towards the warmer, more central part of the pile. And so the leaves and all that are on the outside of the pile aren't going to get broken down. That's why we try to incorporate them each time. So one of the things that was a frustrating thing, so I don't know if you've been watching for a while, you know, last year our strawberry bed, the deer during the winter time came in, and that's our handicap beds. Those are those tall blocked beds that I built for just in case if I ever become wheelchair bound. And it does make things easier to garden in those beds. But the deer knocked down one of the gates. Now they can jump over it, so I probably should go ahead and put some electric wire or paracord above that to try and keep the deer from getting down into the garden and getting all of our strawberries, because they love those strawberry greens during the winter months. So I think that's pretty good with the pile. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, time to go up and park by the sugar shack again, so I can charge it in case it's a while before I get to use this piece of equipment again. Just turning the cab here around while I'm going under the branches of a maple tree here. I gotta say so I did fix the gate, but I've got to take some other steps so that they don't eat all of the strawberries. They dig down and they pull all of the strawberry plants right out of the ground. I never knew the deer love them as much as they do. But during the winter time, you can't blame them. I forgot what else I was going to say. So a couple things. Just remember that we have several articles on our website, Mindful Living. There shouldn't be any ads or anything like that on our website. We don't make anything off of our website there. So feel free to use those articles on the website if you find them of value. If you have comments or questions on them, yes, you can leave a comment there. I don't check them as often as I should, especially during the warmer seasons and all. But I would say leave comments on the videos that are related to them. That'll make it much easier for me to be able to respond to your comments and questions and all. And I think that's about it. I can't remember what else I was going to tell you. So, with that said and all, it's time to go do something inside the house, I think. I'll clean up things here and keep my fingers crossed that the weather holds out and I don't have to do any major snow blowing and all. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye now.